Hello, I'm Michael Boyajian, and I'm going to be talking about one of my upcoming books. Usually I talk about books that I've published already, whether they're recent or not. But this time I want to talk about an upcoming book. And again, it's one of the Jeri and Mike books that I've been putting out, which are about aspects of my life with my late wife, Jeri. And this book is about our love for gardening, and it's entitled Our Side of Paradise, The Magical Love Garden, and it should be out in a short time. But what happened when we got to Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, and the only democracy at the time in Italy, and also it was supported by a very benevolent banking family, the Medici, who were great patrons of the art. And just to give you an example of their generosity, it's not like they didn't get anything in return, but, not to take away from the Rockefeller family, which has done great things, creating the Museum of Modern Art and other things. But the Medici funded the entire Renaissance. Okay, that's no small task. No Medici, no bucks, no Renaissance. We're back in the Dark Ages. Anyhow, we get there, and our hotel is a short distance from central Florence, and you're immediately immersed in the Renaissance architecture and atmosphere there as you head towards the Duomo and the baptistry. And Jeri is just way ahead of me, floating along, oblivious to my shouts to wait up for me. And it's, she goes past the Santa Maria Novella, and she's headed for the baptistry and the Duomo, and she doesn't hear me, and it looks like she's floating. Okay? Anyhow, we meet up at the baptistry finally, and we go inside and observe the Christ portrait up on the ceiling, and the doors on the exterior. And then, of course, the Duomo's right behind it, and you see the dome and the tower and all of that. And then you head to your right, down deeper into central Florence, to the Uffizi Gallery, where you'll find the treasure trove of Renaissance art. I don't think there's any other place with more Renaissance art. Anyhow, we saw both Botticellis that are famous. All his works famous. The most famous, I should say, the Primavera, which is a tribute to spring, and the Birth of Venus. Okay, now before I get to this book I'm reading about Florence, when Jeri worked at the Met, where she was for 34 years, she worked at one time with our friend Hoyt, who passed away. But at that time, the Met decided to do a poster, even though it wasn't in their collection, of the Birth of Venus. And well, it turned out to be one of the most popular items in the Met shop and retail and wholesale. And it got to the point where the staff got sick of seeing it, believe it or not. And Hoyt coined a term for it and called it the SS Venus, because it looked like she was on a boat with that seashell she's riding and floating on water. Again, another floating metaphor. And anyhow, I'm reading this book now, The Florentines by Paul Strathern, and I get to the part where he's describing some of Botticelli's works, and he spends time on the Birth of Venus. And again, he talks about the impossibility anatomically of the Venus in the picture. But he says because of the way that was done, it gives the Venus the appearance of floating. Okay? So that's the Renaissance, the birthplace of the Renaissance, the whole main center of the Renaissance in Florence, and everything is floating. My late wife is floating, Venus is floating, everyone is floating. And just as an aside, after the Uffizi Gallery, just to let off some steam after all the overwhelming amount of visual, ocular overdose of Renaissance art, we had to chill out in the Boboli Gardens, which is the main point of what I'm getting to is that there's one of the gardens we visited around the world and in the U.S. and Canada and Mexico that helped us with our garden. And if you get a chance, go to Florence. Make sure you go to the Boboli Garden. And hope you enjoy the book when it comes out. Have a nice day.